Greetings and welcome to Ladies and Tech and Friends Author Chat. My name is Sabrina Lowry, affectionately known as the Tech Evangelist, and I am one of your legacy authors in the Ladies in Tech anthology series, sitting in for our visionary author and the phenomenal woman, Kenyatta Powers Rucker. We want to give her a special shout out this evening, wishing her tremendous blessings and congratulations on her recent graduation. So, kudos, Kenyatta. We are sending you nothing but love and positive vibes. So, in the meantime, we are here to chat it up with our newest anthology contributing authors, and I would like to welcome them into the conversation. We are broadcasting live and we are coming all across the country to your pathways, your phones, your tablets, your whatever you're listening on. So let's jump into the conversation. First up to the stage, we have Miss Crystal J. Rice. Welcome, sis.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight.
We next have Kamisha Michaels.
Hello, everyone.
And next we have Monica Faye Hall.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
I am so glad for you ladies to be here for another edition of our Ladies in Tech and Friends author chat. So let's just dive right in with introductions. And I'm going to go right to you, Monica Faye. Tell the people what you do and who you do it for.
Hi, I'm Monica Faye, and I own my own digital marketing firm. It's the Digital Hall. I've owned it for about 3 years now. I was in corporate for about 20 years in e-commerce and digital marketing, and I decided to build my own empire, I guess I should say.
I
So
love
that's
that
what I
so
do.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And so we want to bring our live streamers into the conversation. Don't be shy. Tune in, post questions and comments in the chat. You never know, we may bring you into the live conversation. So, up next, we have Kamisha. Tell the people what you do and who you do it for.
Okay. Well, my name is Kamisha Michaels, and I own a boutique creative agency called Enliven Creative Agency. And we focus on brand and business development, including strategy, visual designs, innovation, and fractional CMO services.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Kamisha. And bringing up, we have Crystal Rice.
Hello, everyone. I want to say my 8 to 5 or my 7:30 to 5:30. I currently work in IT procurement. So I've had 20 years of experience in IT. Now I'm on the business and the financial side. But then my 5:30 to 9:30, I am an entrepreneur. I own New Dimension Enterprises LLC, where we bring full circle healing you from the inside out by way of life coaching, personal development, makeup artistry, and I'm also a skincare coach.
Oh, I love that, Crystal. Oh my gosh. So, as you all can see, some powerhouses, and allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Bree. Sometimes they call me Bree, right? So, the tech evangelist is truly what I'm affectionately known for. And I am the founder and the chief technology officer of Sabrina Lowry Enterprises LLC. I'm bringing you nothing but tech skills from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way from New Jersey. I am a Jersey girl, so shout out to my friends and family tuning in from up north. So let's jump into the conversation, ladies, because as tech rock stars, as the entrepreneurs that we are, in celebration of Women's Herstory Month, there are some things that we need to tell the people about. So I'm going to come back to you, Crystal.
Okay.
As a new author in the sisterhood, has this journey been like for you, coming from the corporate world to best-selling author, darling?
It has been amazing. It has really, really been amazing. This was not my first time being introduced. Fun fact, Kenyatta is actually my cousin. And so she is my cousin. So she asked me to write in volume one. The answer was no. She asked me to write in volume two. The answer was no. And she asked me to write in volume three. It was definitely no for that season. But God has a way to bring everything full circle. And I expressed to her that I thought about it, and I had mentioned it to my father, and he said, well, you gonna be scared or you gonna pray about it? Because as you know, there's some different components that you have to be ready to assert yourself with, both commitment, time, and financial. And so I said, ooh, he put the cables on me, didn't he? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna trust God. And I've always been a writer. That has never been a problem. I actually wrote my chapter within like 20 minutes. So that's never been a problem. But it was just me being ready and being time. So it has been enjoyable. It has stretched me in ways. I've always been a speaker, you know, I've always been a speaker, so that's not a problem. So it was just about God's alignment and timing, but it has absolutely been a phenomenal, because as you know, it's not many of us that look like us in this field. I can count on my hand over 23 years. I can count on my hand the number of women that have looked like me, that have worked with me or have led me down here in the good South Carolina. So I have enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed connecting with like-minded women.
I love that so much. And welcome to the sisterhood. It has been amazing working with you. Monica Faye, let's tell the people all about your journey into the sisterhood. And what was it like in your writer's journey?
Well, so initially I was asked on volume 3. I met Kenyatta and some of the ladies, and I was blown away. I mean, honestly, it was really a sisterhood. And I felt so at home, but it wasn't a good time for me to write, because I was working on my own book at the time, and it was my second book, so I was really diving in. A lot, as you guys know, so much changes in this industry that you have to keep up. So you're always, trying to educate. But when I was writing, I'm not like Crystal. I'm not a writer. It was a lot to pour into, because I had to be careful what I said, based on my journey. It was different, and some people have that same type of story, but for me, I have a little extra to it that I had to be careful in writing about. So I was very careful to say they and her, and not her and him, and so it was difficult. My first time ever having to deal with that, so it was a little difficult to write. But I'm happy that I got my story out.
Oh, I love that. So on the other side of that objection initially was the breakthrough. That's what I'm hearing. And I read your chapter. And so I think you did a phenomenal job, sis.
Thank you.
Right? Give yourself credit where the credit is due. Kamisha, how about for you? Beautiful.
Amen. Well, this is my first time being in the Ladies in Tech. I met Kenyatta 2 years ago, and I never really considered myself a lady in tech. Even though I have designed tech solutions for others. And it wasn't until I think the beginning of this year, I reached out to Kenyatta to share with her what I was building. And it led to being an author in the anthology, where I get to share what I've been building, because our situation, I believe we are in a crisis with business failures. And it's being disguised as business failure when it's actually a public crisis, because people don't think of the aftermath of business failure, in the sense of People have lost their life savings. People are committing suicide. And matter of fact, for business owners, suicide is the number 2 demographic next to heart failure or cardiac. And we don't talk about this. We don't talk about homelessness. It affects the rates. It also affects community property values, because if you have a bunch of abandoned buildings, that drives down your home value, but it also drives crime. But we don't talk about this. Everybody just says, oh, that's just a business that closed. No, because it also leads to divorces and broken families. And that is what I want to share, is the untold story of entrepreneurship. And that if we don't change how we see and operate in our businesses, it's just going to create a bigger fracture and collapse the whole business ecosystem.
Those are facts right there, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want you all to lean right into this conversation. We are live with the Ladies in Tech and Friends author chat, and we are featuring Crystal Rice, Kamisha Michaels, and Monica Faye Hall. And I am yours truly, Sabrina Lowry, one of the legacy authors, and bringing you nothing but positive vibes and hoping that we will get you engaged in this conversation, get you to join this community and this sisterhood. But not only that, but it is the month of March, and we are still celebrating Women's History Month. Ladies, I would like to segue our conversation, because it sounds like in your journey, in your story, there are some superpowers. And in one of our previous volumes, Kenyatta challenged us to identify our leadership traits. And if you have not already done an exercise like that, I'm sure you've heard of the different types: that motivator, that nurturer, etc. I'm going to go around the panel and I'm going to ask you, what is your superpower and why? Crystal?
Okay, my superpower. I would have to say I'm that motivator. And I think that when you're able to, the root, everything has a root. Our behavior is the fruit, right? And so when I think about being a motivator, I think that comes deep diving from personal experience. And the reason why I feel like I'm a motivator is based on my personal story. And not to give too much away, but just to give you a synopsis. Education wise, I have 3 degrees. And when I tell people that, they go, oh, wow, you don't know the story behind that. I was a teen mom along with being an honor student. Okay. And so there were times when I didn't have peers to motivate me. I was too standoffish from adults because I felt like I was walking around with a scarlet letter on my back, to be transparent. So I had to learn to motivate myself. I literally graduated in May of 96, and I started my first class to my first degree in June of 96. And so there were times where son had to go to class with me. So in those instances, but I always tell people, what you go through is not necessarily meant for you, but those that you're going to come in contact with. And I had an instructor to tell me that years ago, and that still holds true. So I think that my ability to motivate comes from the fact that there were times that I had a huge support system. Let me be clear. But there were times when the nights get long, when you've got to go to school, you've got to change diapers, you got to get the baby to the daycare. Daycare can't open because the kids are sick. So then what do I have to do? Baby has to go to school with me. So I had to kind of channel, when there was nobody else there to motivate me, I had to channel to motivate myself. So even when I've been in leadership, one of my strengths has been being able to motivate my team, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So being in leadership, you want production because that production makes you as a leader look good. So how do you do that? Even in church, I lead the media team at church. I don't just meet with my people and delegate. I met with them just this Tuesday, and part of it was me to say thank you for what you guys have done this year, the vision that you all are carrying out that we've been given from our leadership in the church, and just thank you. So I think that's very important. Being in leadership, we can't get it twisted because we can't be successful until those we lead are successful. And so we have to be able to channel and be able to give them the motivation they need to give us the production we need.
Let's go, motivator. I love that archetype. And it also resonates with what is identified as the visionary leader. So, ladies, out of these archetypes, that visionary, that motivator, that nurturer, Kamisha, jump into the conversation. Where do you fall, sis?
Ooh, I think I am dual.
What's your superpower?
So I am great at motivating people and getting them to see beyond today. Letting them know to go after your dreams. Don't get boxed in by what society conditions you to accept.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part is resiliency. No matter how many times you fall, get back up, dust yourself off, and keep proceeding on. Because when you are building legacy, building greatness, it's a long journey and it's not for everybody. But if you are the one who was chosen to build something great, you have to take those falls with grace, humility, and learn to forgive yourself, but also encourage yourself.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. 100%. Monica Faye, where do you fall on the trait chart, sis?
I think I just discovered this, but I think I'm a solutionist. And I find a solution for everything, which I believe was why I was so successful in corporate. I was able to see a problem and find a solution. And it was with ease. I don't know why, but I think that's my superpower. And even recently when I started working in my business, and then 2025, the beginning of last year, I saw a problem. It was a problem for me as a small business owner. I was paying upwards $700 a month for an application. And I was like, this is crazy. I can pull this data myself. I can scrape the, internet and do this myself. And so I built the application, and now I have the platform, which is, I'm just finishing it today, actually, working on all the marketing now. But that is something I just discovered about myself, that's why I've been so successful, and not even knowing it. It was just something I've been doing in the background all the time. And so I'm really happy to know that, that I am a solutionist, and I just found out. So it's a great question. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And as one of your legacy authors, ladies, I'm sure you know which leadership trait I fall under. Let's just see if any one of y'all can grab it out of the air collectively. Which leadership trait do y'all think I fall under?
Oh, motivator.
That's what I was saying. Motivator.
Yeah, motivator, definitely. And leader. I would say maybe dual.
So I'm looking at my visual graphic because I've been working on this all this week as I developed my premium program, and my superpower absolutely is motivator. I was a cheerleader back in the day. I will woo and woo my people and be their number one raving fan. And so much so that I want it more than they do. And so then that becomes a detriment, and that then requires that resilience to push through, because when they let you down, you can't be down with them. You have to continue to motivate them to get back up. It's So I love that we were able to go into that. And that's going to lead us into our final segment for time purposes, because I definitely want us to dive into our chapters, ladies. Is that okay with you?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull up here these chapters, and I'm going to start with you, Crystal. I believe your chapter is going to be your dream to reality, more than a seat at the table, where persistence births purpose. Talk to our audience about your chapter.
Wow. So when I was writing my chapter, again, this was my first anthology project, and I wanted to tell my story. And I said, I'm not going to go the tech route, because, ladies and we can go the tech route. We can talk the talk, but I wanted to write it from the perspective of that young girl or that young teenager who may have their eyes, because young people, I work with young people, and they have their eyes on the dollar sign. Okay. And I have just recently met a young lady. She's freshly graduated, and she's like, I got this, this, and this, and it's going to be this, this, and this with the money and all of that. And I thought, when I write this project, I'm going to write it from a personal perspective. So it starts out intertwining some personal about when I was little, and I've always wanted to work in a big building. My oldest brother, who is a veteran now, and he works for the City of Charlotte. He's a network administrator. But we always had this thing about he was going to live in Atlanta. I was going to live in Charlotte. And the way it ended up, I ended up living in Atlanta. He ended up recruiting out of Charlotte when he was in the military. So my chapter starts out with that, and then it leads on to just telling a little bit about my testimony with being a teen mom, and then how I went to school, and I was so excited, you all. I mean, so excited. And I began to work for a wireless company. I'm not going to say the name tonight because I don't want to give the book away. But I worked for, and I excelled very well, and went straight to tech support. That was my goal, and I did it within like 8 to 9 months. Okay. And I began to work third shift, and we kind of took tech calls. So since I had a background, I was encouraged and kind of put to the forefront with those type of calls. And I was encouraged, you need to apply after so-and-so. So I did apply internally. So I'm getting called into the office. I'm excited. And, gentlemen that don't look like me, they talk to me and just really pump me up, y'all. I mean, I'm thinking I got this. And one of them politely said, "Oh, you think just because you have that little degree that's going, and literally threw my resume at me." So, so from then on, I did sell, and it was so funny because 3 months later, I got promoted and moved to Atlanta, in tech support as a lead. God has a way. And so it just talks about my journey, the despair of it, the things that you face, that even in recent years is what I'm gonna say. It hadn't changed for me. I don't know if I've always said it. I do know it could be the demographic, but I've always been the only woman. I've always absolutely been one of few African American women. And so it's just been, I just wanted to paint a picture to say nothing wrong with having a dream. But remember, on the other side of that dream, there's a reality. So don't change the dream. Just prepare yourself, because I had nobody to prepare me. I think my second degree, I had maybe 2 African American instructors, but still nobody to prepare me for what I was going to face on the other side in corporate America. Yeah. And so my chapter is saying, no matter what you're going to face it, prepare yourself. Know that you've got to have double knowledge. Know that you've got to be doubly prepared. Know who you are. Be confident in your skills, because you don't know what you're going to face, but still yet be resilient, and you will come on top. Because guess what? That's just your life is a book. Your things you go through and you face, those are just chapters, but it's not the end of your story.
That's right, Crystal. Oh, so powerful. I enjoyed your story so much. I love the power that you bring, what you stand for, and I believe you are a phenomenal woman. So congratulations on becoming a best-selling author.
Thank you.
I would like to segue to our next author, Monica Faye, building my own and delivering success. Honey, you better tell the people how do they build their own.
So my story is pain, pivot, purpose. It went from pain to pivot to purpose. I was in pain towards the end of my time in corporate. And I think God just directed me out of that. And I listened, and it took some years. And I think he'd been telling me to go for a long time. But sometimes he has to put some roadblocks in your way. And I had that in the form of a person come in as a vice president of my company, and I couldn't do it. I just knew I couldn't stay there, so I started building my own, and it was painful and it was scary, and I didn't know what would happen when I did leave. I didn't know if I would be able to survive, but God had a plan, and I think he still has a plan, even with what I'm doing now. It's like just things unfolding. It's like a flower. It just keeps, unfolding, and you see different things come into light, and you realize God has really orchestrated this entire journey for me. Over 20 years in corporate, and then I just leave, and I don't know the future, and God he's already just paved the way. And I didn't realize that. I wasn't, didn't think it was happening that way, but it did. And I'm happy. I'm happier. I can tell you that when you are in a situation like mine, and you'd have to read the book to hear the entire story, but when you're in a situation like the one I was in, you have to be resilient, and you have to stand, and stand for yourself, and protect your heart, protect your mind, and don't allow someone to pull you down in the middle of it. I had to do all of that, and I didn't know I would ever, because prior to that, I had the best manager I'd ever had in my entire life. And then suddenly I get this guy, the worst person I've ever had in my entire life. It was crazy. And I've had several vice presidents that I worked for. So it was different, but eye-opening, but I think it was orchestrated by God. I think he orchestrated that entire time for me. So now I'm in my purpose. I went from pain, and then I did the pivot, and now I'm in my purpose. So I'm really happy with the journey that I took to get here. So I'm now happy to be part of the team.
I love it. I love it so much. I enjoyed your chapter as well. So powerful, right? We are some powerful women with some powerful stories. And I want to go right into it. Kamisha, we are coming towards the end of our segment here, and then we'll go into sharing our contact information on the panel. Kamisha, breaking barriers and building innovation, creating technology that doesn't exist yet. Talk to the people about your chapter, sis.
Oh my. So my chapter is inspired by those business owners who want to be seen and not forgotten. It is about the ones who have a dream to start a business, but then life happens and they become stagnant, stuck, self-sabotage, and they don't know how to break the cycle, which affects how they make decisions in their business. The mental breakdowns, the working from being empty, that it leads to a major breakdown. And that breakdown has a profound effect on how the business operates. And a lot of times there is an internal battle that is going on that the world does not see. They see the behavior of what's going on, but they don't know how to articulate it and say, this is what's going on. And because the battle is so intense, communication is very hard. So I wanted to take and build a system that says, I see you. And now I'm going to give you the tools to break those cycles so that you can now build in resiliency, sustainability, and longevity. And yeah, because I know that no one goes into business to fail, but we don't always have the tools that we need because entrepreneurship isn't treated as a whole, like a body. It's treated as parts. It's either got to be branding or marketing or sales or systems, but not as a whole. And so, without giving everything away, I built a business wellness ecosystem that takes the whole business, including the key stakeholders' mindset, readiness, and tolerance, into consideration. Because if you have key stakeholders that are burnt out, self-sabotaging, and they're coming into a room to make decisions, that decision is going to be misaligned with the brand, which is going to cause either a crisis or revenue loss. And nobody will understand how it happened and why are they losing so much money. And of course, you got prime examples. Budweiser, when they went against their brand standards, it cost them millions. Look at Pepsi. But I think they lost $25-40 million when they hired Kyle Jenner. And that was after the launch. That doesn't include the money that they lost beforehand. And so Harley Davis is another one. When you look at these bigger corporations and when they start closing 300, 1,100 stores, it has a profound effect on our communities. So it made me think, well, what goes on in those rooms? Where was everybody's mindset when that decision was made? Did anybody double check to make sure that it was in alignment with the brand? Because if you ever notice, brands who have the strongest resiliency, they don't break that alignment. Everything that they do reinforces what they believe. And they are able to make pivots when the market changes. And it doesn't affect their bottom line. And in most cases, they thrive. So I wanted to be able to bring that methodology to smaller businesses and show how you can build that for yourself without having to pay millions of dollars for a consultant to come in and do it.
Yes, exactly.
So,
And congratulations on your launch. I know this has been your winning season. I'm so exceptionally proud to be in partnership with you, in sisterhood with you, and in community with you. So God bless. That is tremendous and amazing. Ladies, all of your stories are so powerful. I just want to go and just remind our audience that you are tuned in to the Ladies in Tech and Friends author chat. I am Sabrina Lowry, affectionately known as the Tech Evangelist, and I am the forward author in this volume. And so I would like to do a little show and tell as we wrap, ladies, right? So we all know that these are now in book bundle form. We have volume 1. This was our first project and the start of the Ladies in Tech community, and tremendous authors there on volume 1. This was sharing expertise for a successful career. You all can grab that one on Amazon ebook version and then see your favorite author, anthology contributing author for the hard copy. Volume 2. y'all, changing the face of technology, and our amazing contributing authors there. Shout out to visionary author Kenyatta Powers Rucker. Y'all give a shout out to our visionary. And of course, last year's volume 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the strengths, strategies, and lessons of women leaders and the phenomenal contributing authors there, which leads us right down this pathway to the ladies that you have just been introduced to in volume 4. And that is our and friends, because we are building careers that were not traditionally meant for us. And as the leading author, opening up, what is this journey going to be like when you read and open and turn these pages and get deep dive in and maybe learn a nugget or two? I believe in the spirit of collaboration, meaning I support another woman because I was so busy being bullied by the bad men in the boardroom that I refused to be that bulldog in a skirt. And therefore, my trajectory came when I started business and doing business with women and got certified by Cornell University in women's entrepreneurship so that I can do a rinse and repeat framework and lift as I climb and be the leader that leads by example and don't just talk the talk, but does the walking too. Okay. So when we come into this community, ladies in tech should feel like a vibe. It should feel like a safe space. It should also feel like an incubator because we've raised the babies. Our youngest contributing author in volume 4, y'all, is a college student who will be graduating in a couple of months. So let's talk about legacy. Let's make sure that we continue to celebrate women, not just during the month of March in Women's History Month, but all year long as we continue to advocate for women. We continue to build leaders, and we got to shout out the new Toastmasters community that the ladies and tech and friends now have. And trust me when I tell you, I can go on and on and on about the greatness that is happening inside of our sisterhood. Ladies, would you agree? Absolutely. So I want to just close out our conversation and make sure that each one of you gives your parting quote for the night. All right. And it could be your own. And where can the people get in contact with you? Kamisha.
So my favorite quote is has always been, if there's a will, there's a way. And to anybody who's building anything, don't be the 7-Up man where you give up too soon. Somebody comes in, picks up where you left off, and gets all the credit.
That's right.
But I can be reached at KIMM@enliven.agency. Enliven is ENLIVEN. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kamisha. It is always a pleasure to see you. I cannot wait till we meet and greet and celebrate our bestsellers campaign together at the book launch. Monica Faye, what are your closing remarks? Favorite quote?
Yes. I have a new one. So know when their, not your, expiration date is up, and don't stay in the spoils. That's one that I think I had that I wanted to share with everyone. If you want to reach me, I'm at info@monicafayhall.com, and keep your eyes open for Serpfinity.
Congratulations, sis. I love that so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Crystal Rice, what will you have to say for the people?
I kind of said it when I was speaking, but I'm going to say this. Remember, your life is a book. The circumstances that you endure or currently enduring, they're just the chapters, but they're not the end of your story. I can be reached at ndellc@ndellc.vip, and Crystal J. Rice, the VIP, on all media platforms.
Oh, I love that so much, Crystal. Congratulations on everything, being a best-selling author and just being a phenomenal woman that you are. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with the quote that has resonated in my spirit all of my life, and it truly is as simple as this. Be the change you wish to see in the world. If you want to see knuckleheads running rampant in these streets, be that. But if you wish to see the change in our atmosphere, in your community, right in your own sisterhood, be that. Be that leader. Be that sister friend. Be that phenomenal woman. And hey, be that lady in tech too. I love y'all so much. This has been so much fun. And I want to give a special shout out to our production team this evening, Dr. Nadia Monsanto of Elite Creations. Thank you so much, sis, for all that you do to support the ladies in tech community. It is always a fabulous job. And one more shout out, ladies. Can we give a virtual round of applause to our visionary author, Kenyatta Powers Rucker? We love you, sis. Safe travels. Again, many congratulations to you. You know your community loves you, and we are lifting you up because every rung of the ladder that you have climbed, you have brought another sister right along with you. Ladies, this has been my joy to be the host this evening on another edition of Ladies in Tech and Friends Author Chat. Until next time, you all can find me at SabrinaLowry.com. Have a great rest of your night. Take care.